AI won't take your job, but others who master it might. So 64% of large organizations plan to invest more than $1 million in AI upskilling and reskilling efforts for the next 3 years. They're not investing $1 million in AI to be better. They're investing $1 million on average on people to know how to use AI. Hey, hello everyone. So excited everyone is here joining us in this webinar today. We're gonna talk about a lot of different things, very exciting things, and I know why you joined. You want to know, one, is AI taking your job? Two, how to enhance your career with AI. But I am gonna just say this really quickly. I'm having a fangirl moment right now because Miri has been an inspiration to me as a Latina woman in tech for a long time. Even, I think I shared this with her as soon as I joined, but when I joined Microsoft about 2 years ago, following her and seeing her journey within the company was like a big reason why I decided to join, because I wanted to be somewhere where I felt included and seen, and seeing her being her authentic self was such an inspiration. So Miri, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. It almost didn't happen, but I'm glad I'm here. And thank you for the invitation. Here we are. It had to happen. So thank you, Karol. I loved when you reached out to me the first time when you joined Microsoft. I love that you feel that you could be here. That's actually part of why I do this, is making sure that women are felt and seen in tech, which is, it's such a big industry and it could be so daunting. Microsoft is such a big company and that can be so daunting. So 2 years later, here you are having your own podcast, and I'm just excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation and saying hi to all of your audiences here. Hi.
Thank you. And I think this is very, very key here today, because I feel, it's so crazy that we have so much in common. And when I saw Empressa AI, like when you made the announcement, which I know it's been cooking for a while, which we're going to talk about, I was so like, oh my God, like so excited. Joined one of your first meetings and was like rooting. I'm like, this is so well done. It's so excited to see this.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here. Yeah. I have a presentation for all of you, and it's just going to be a lot of quick pointers. But I do want to tell you, please hang on towards kind of middle end of the presentation. We have one waiting list that we want to make sure that you join and that you're aware that is happening. It's very exciting for me, and for just because I love just spreading authenticity throughout the world and allowing people to be authentic self. So stay to the end for that. But also, we're going to give you direct tips that you can enhance and use today to make your job better with AI. And then we're going to talk about whether AI is going to take your job or not. So that's going to be very exciting. So I'm going to share my presentation. So really quickly, this is us, right? How to use AI to enhance and not replace your role. I'm a big advocate of AI. Currently at HiK Trainings, we are creating AI-powered tools as well as non-AI powered tools, human-powered tools. We do both. And Miri, of course, she is lead woman in tech on the AI space. And we're here to talk to you today. Why should you hear us and listen to us? So I am going to give you a little bit of my background, and then I'm going to turn it over to Miri so she can give you a little bit of her background. But for me, I founded HiK Trainings back in 2021. It was more of a executive consulting firm. And then I realized how I was not really helping long-term for my clients. I was giving you coaching for 3 months, 6 months, and it wasn't really sticking. So I wanted to create something that will make a lasting impact, not just on my clients, but their employees. And that's how HiK Trainings was born, an ed tech company. Then we have, I've been in corporate America 20 years. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And I started corporate America when I was 1 year old. So this is just what happened.
Same,
Who's saying,
Who's counting before you started?
No one, So then, I started managing remote teams in 2010. So for a lot of people, this is like, what? Right? Yes, there's been a world where you manage remote teams that are not in a physical location.
Wow.
And back then, I had a team of 26 within time. I ended up managing a team of a department of up to 1,500 people, right? So like I had to make sure that I was making an impact in a culture in a big market. And then I was an executive coach since 2016. And here I am today talking to one of my tech idols. So super excited.
Stop.
So I'll turn it over to you, Miri.
Thank you for having me, Carol. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your journey. I'm always so fascinated to hear women's journey into tech and then through tech and what that means to them and how they eventually think of it as a platform. And I think that's been my trajectory as well. I came to tech. I always say over 15 years, but if I'm honest, it's really over 20.
Yes.
I've kept it over 15 years, but it's really more than that. But
When you were 21, yes, I understand. When
right.
you're 21 now, you were 1 year old. Yes, we get it. We get
Exactly. I was just one just like you. They took me
it.
right out
Yes.
of pre-K or whatever it is. That's funny. But it's been such an incredible adventure. So the industry itself, and then at Microsoft, I've been there 12 years. It was my 12th year anniversary back in August, and I think one of the biggest things for me has been not only navigating the space. I am not, an engineer. I'm not a developer. I'm in comms. I'm in marketing. And so when I came to tech, at first I didn't feel techie. I actually wouldn't say that I'm a woman in tech. I didn't feel like I was techie, and I was like, wait a minute, no, I am in tech, and this is the industry. And more so when you actually enter the space. I have learned so much and I have assimilated so much. And while I'm not an actual engineer, I can speak tech and I understand, our products well. And I am excited about what we're doing at Microsoft and excited about what I'm doing beyond Microsoft with Microsoft. And so to me, it's been a stackable platform, tech has been, where I've been able to build something personal and then something big outside of me, and it's just been a great adventure. And I think that's what Empressa really is about. It's been an adventure and an amalgamation of all the things that I've learned in my lived experience, and the things that I'm gonna go learn, which is new, in the AI space, which everybody's learning in. So it's really exciting.
That is really, really good. So I am going to really quickly. I love that you share that. Yes, so I think it's really good. It's loud sharing, and my team, who is amazing, couldn't do this without them. Is like making sure like we're showing up all of our
Thank you,
information.
team.
So
All the people
that's
behind
important.
the screen making all the things happen. Always so amazing. So,
Love it, love it. Yes, we couldn't do it without them. So
right.
love it. And it's so funny. Kate, which is our social media head of social media marketing, is reading your book, and she is like completely in love with it and all
Oh,
the sharings, and that you have action items in the book
mhm.
for people. So
Yes, I do.
if you haven't checked it out, please do. It will definitely change your life
Please.
for the better, and it will make it better for your company and yourself. So I'm going to start talking about the current situation,
Yeah,
Miri, and I want your perspective on a
sure.
lot of these numbers that we're going to share because I think it's important for people to hear. And then we're going to dive into our tips and recommendations in
Absolutely.
answering the question of today.
Yeah.
So 40% of companies use AI to boost productivity, right?
Yes.
It helps
Yes.
them handle tasks and employees to focus on more strategy and creative work. I think we see this even at Microsoft all the time,
Oh, yeah.
and if this number surprised you, if you feel like 40% of the workforce in where you're working right now is not using AI to boost productivity, you are in the far end of innovation and other companies can take it from you. So what are your thoughts on this, Miri?
Yeah, I would actually dare say that these numbers are actually a little bit. It's more than 40%. It's just not being reported because employees, even if the companies themselves are not overtly speaking about AI or using AI tools, the employees are. So we're seeing actually more higher numbers about employees bringing and opening themselves to AI tools, specifically generative AI tools for productivity, even if their company itself is not promoting it or is not integrating immediately or adopting. So these are staggering numbers, which is actually really exciting. Microsoft came up with a work index report in the summer. They keep updating, and so I recommend you look at these reports, and they keep changing every I mean these numbers keep changing. So there's a lot here that we need to really contend with. We've been using AI, and now we're using it even more. It's just such an incredible leap into the next thing, and I think the adoption is more than we let on to be.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think maybe our perspective is that because we do work in one of the lead AI companies in the world?
No, actually, this is not a Microsoft specific number or a report that I'm sharing. I don't actually have the exact number. I do know it's more than 40%. And the late, like when I read the actual stat, it was employee led, not company led. So what you're saying here is actually companies that are adopting AI right now, specifically generative AI, large language models, and these kind of, the next step, the next level of AI. We all have been dealing with AI, but it's actually employees that are quicker on the
Throughout.
adoption, even if the
Yeah.
company is not. So that's
I
the
love that. Yeah.
I want to add that in. I don't have the actual number,
Yeah.
and I want to, but it is more than that when you think about the integration that employees themselves are bringing to the workplace.
And I love, thank you for sharing that. And the reason I
Yeah.
ask, because there might be people here that might not be the heart of it all, like us, right? Like as soon as March 2023 hit, like
Yes.
we quickly learn and adapt, because it's like, oh, okay. And we are like leading this effort as an
That's right.
organization. So like wanted to share that because it should be even higher. And that makes me actually excited, because
Me
we should
too.
not be afraid of AI, right? We should embrace it.
No.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about more on that. We're going to talk in a minute. So 64% of large organizations plan to invest more than $1 million in AI upskilling and reskilling efforts for the next 3 years. That's an average number. I think even honestly that number might be even more conservative, because I see the investment. And what I want to point out here is they're not investing $1 million in AI to be better. They're investing $1 million on average on people to know how to use AI. And I do share this all the time, Mary, when I have in these conversations, when I do my webinars, because I do talk about HiK training stands for human inspired knowledge.
Yeah.
And is because AI is only as smart as the human that you place behind it,
That's
right?
correct.
So
Right.
like you can try to put someone that is not an expert on AI behind the computer and put someone that has experienced AI for a year. You will get a different outcome, more productive. And AI is not going to replace human intelligence. I want to talk more about that. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts when you're like, oh my god, like now people can use AI to write books, now people can
Yeah.
use AI to poetry. And I kind of giggle a little bit, because you should try to ask AI to write a piece of poetry, and see what AI comes out with. Like it's
Yes.
not meant to replace human creativity and intelligence. But I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Carol, people will argue that it may get really, really good at one point, and it will do that in terms of capability, in terms of just that, its ability to learn really fast and just turn it around and be trained more and more. It's just learning and training as it goes. One thing that, I am in the communication space, I am a writer, and you're right, a lot of people think, whoa, it's, if it can it write a book? It actually, in my book, I talk about that statistic, that there are numbers saying that by, I think it's 2025 or 2026, AI will actually be able to write not just a book, a best-selling book, which is, I'm like, wow, that sucks. It takes so many writers so much to
Yeah.
make a best-selling like that. That's crazy. Here's my thoughts on that. And I've been actually navigating and playing with this technology for a while. You mentioned March 2021 at Microsoft is when we rolled out and we announced our partnership, our collaboration with OpenAI. And I've been really privileged to really start learning since, and playing with these technologies at scale, and seeing the evolution of these technologies within Microsoft tools, specifically Copilot. And it just has been, for me personally, and then I think collectively for Microsoft, such an incredible time of understanding not only the evolution of the machines, but our evolution as we integrate these into our day to day. And for me, from a writer's perspective, from a communications perspective, what it has done for me is not writing things for me. I don't think it's even found my voice, even though I have trained it to learn my
Mm-hmm.
voice. I actually have given it templates of my voice and my modes and my tone, and it knows me enough now to do that. What it does for me is it helps deepen my empathy for my audience. What I have done with AI, particularly with Copilot in this way, or ChatGPT, is I can write a piece of content and I can say, hey, I would love recommendations on how to rewrite this content in this way for this audience, adding in intersectionality, considering the region where I'm landing this, or considering the type of audience. So I give it demographics. And this is something that before AI, before generative AI, it took me a while to do, and I would miss it sometimes because we don't have such a big capacity to do that unless you're doing a lot of research per piece of content. And so in 3 seconds, I can actually upgrade or elevate my content to make my original content even more targeted to the audiences that I want. I have also done the other. I have just said, hey, write this piece of content in my voice because I've already trained it. And even though it has my voice, it doesn't feel mine because it isn't mine. And so I don't think, I think people, when you think about Copilot for productivity or ChatGPT or generative AI, we have to think of it as an add-on to what we already do. We are, we are the creatives, and it just helps our creativity. We are the inventors, and it helps our ideas. And we have the capacity, we have the lived experience, we have the relationship with the customers, we have all the ecosystem, and it just helps us understand it better, or research it better, or become a little bit more integrated to the ecosystem through different recommendations that it may give you, or research. It doesn't live in the ecosystem, doesn't have the relationship with the customers, and it never will. So we bring in the lived experience that it will never have, even if it has the the basic capacities, if you will, to write something or come up with a blog. It's not understanding, like we do, the why of we're writing that blog, why we need to make sure that that blog is going to be delivered specifically to an audience, because there's a history there's an information we want to deliver, that kind of thing. So it's ingenuity. We have this ingenuity that it won't ever have.
I love that. I think that's very key for me. The way I use AI, because I do enjoy writing as a hobby, haven't been able to do it very much so in the
Me
last
too.
year.
What are you writing? What are you writing?
And I write children's books. It's a
Oh, I didn't
silly
know
passion of
that.
mine. Yeah,
To see
with
your
young
work.
Oh my God. It's really much like teaching toddlers how to like spell certain words and allowing English speaking parents to be able to translate for them as they're reading. It's a hobby,
Amazing.
totally a hobby, but I use it more as a copywriter. So sometimes when you're writing, and also I do some fiction that I never published the fiction once, but
Ooh,
like
I don't know. Never say never.
yes, yes. But like, when you are like it pains you to have to contact someone to be like, hey, can you read my book and give me
Yeah, give
feedback,
you
and can you be my
perspective. Give you
copywriter?
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I use it literally as a copywriter.
Get
And
it.
then I go back, I make the changes based
Yeah.
on like, it's like, hey, this, and then I go back and it's like, did I improve my writing? And like,
Right.
it's just literally like a teacher. But
Yes.
I will talk more about it because I have the 4 AI tools the most known AI tools that we have, and what are they best used for? Because
Yeah.
not every AI tool can be a good copywriter, in my opinion.
Sure.
So we
Sure.
have all 4 of them, and we'll give you a review at the end. So that's so awesome. I
I
love
love
that.
it. I
So
love
this one is big for me. This one's very big for me. And this webinar was born out of a post that I did with amazing femtech founder Vanessa Jupi, who had created her own app to help women through breastfeeding, maternity, and work. And it's one of the best apps ever. So
it. Wow.
speaking with her, we talked about AI and the presence of women in AI. And
Yeah.
you were creating, or you already created and had posted about the company. So this is a true ratio. In tech, which I think this is very, very
Already like
kind.
this. I know.
I don't think it's 1-1, but if you go into leadership level, it's definitely not 1-1, right?
No, not at
But
all.
in terms of, we are a 1-1 ratio in the tech industry, but in AI, there's a one woman to every 3 men ratio in AI. I want to take this moment for you to talk a little bit about Empresa,
Yeah.
and talk a little bit about why you think this is, but also how Empresa, the company you have created, really is bringing women up. Because I think that it's just remarkable what you're doing,
Yeah.
and what little bit of what it does.
Yeah, for me particularly, Empresa was born out of my own lived experience as a Latina woman, as an immigrant woman to the States, who has navigated tech for a long time, who has navigated the limitations that being a woman brings to tech. That is unfortunate. The systemic limitations that have existed long-standing, and it's really Empresa was born out of my not just my personal lived experience, but my ecosystem of women that I brought along with me. A lot of women I have coached for many years. I have peers that I've connected with, and certainly I am not alone in the fact that a lot of times women, I would say, I would dare say, I don't have all the numbers, but it feels like historically women in general have always had to play catch up for any technology that has been created, even if they have been part of that creation of that technology, just because of the systemic limitations that exist. And so historically, you think of any major technology, any revolutionary technology, or in essence, and it feels like we're the ones out there going, okay, now when is this applicable to women, or when can women come into the space and work in the space? And I have been an advocate for women in tech for a long time, women beyond tech, for women in general. And as I entered this space, I realized, wow, this is an opportunity like no other. We, for the first time, I believe, in our history of humanity, of our written history, women have an opportunity to lead in this space, to enter in this space, and to be at the forefront and not playing catch up. Just like, because it's new, because we are it's revolutionizing industries, it's revolutionizing companies, and everybody's learning the same. So yes, there's people that have been in AI itself for a while. Yes, there's actually a lot of women who are working in AI related technologies and building AI. Empressa is actually for the women that at any level, for women in business and entrepreneurs that come in and they can leverage AI. They can learn AI. They can actually, not be scared and enter and be not be playing catch up in the end. We actually come in and say, hey, let's build this community. Let's leverage AI. AI is the tool. We are the community. AI is going to enable us, you and I, to connect at a deeper level. These solutions that we're bringing here in Empressa that you're showcasing, thank you for that, is this idea that AI is going to help us, and as we were talking earlier, it's going to enable a platform for women to come in and talk to each other and connect with each other and find each other. And what I love about this is we've been doing this for a while. Women have a lot of different communities. The differentiator here is women experts are going to actually feed the AI. We're selecting women to come in and deliver their expertise. You being one of them, so I'm so excited you're going to be a part of us.
Yes.
So this database is going to be basically sourced by women experts, and that means that the users that come in to connect with Empressa, when they do a query, when they ask a specific question about anything, lifestyle, wellness, business, their answers are really going to be delivered by people like you, people like me, who have been in tech for 20 years, started when we were one, and we have that,
Yes.
we have that wisdom to impart to them. So it's a knowledge sharing. I think of it as a digital library of knowledge, and AI is going to take it and add the intersectionality to it. So you can think, for example, Karol, you could say, hey, I'm not only a woman in tech, and I also am an immigrant. I am a mom. There's all these layers. AI is going to consider that in your profile when you come in and actually match you or connect you and consider all these things that maybe match you and I, because we have some things in common. And so that's so hard to find. I know that you and I have talked about that. It's like finding somebody that can relate to you on not just one level but so many levels, and so it's going to be, I'm just excited about the opportunity to bring a platform to women to learn, to expand, and I call it, Empressa means, it's got Empress, meaning that we are going to reign. It's not just a queen, we're reigning together. Empressa because it's also alluding to Latin for business, women in business, entrepreneurs. We are leveraging AI to serve us in many ways in Empressa, and I think that's exciting because I haven't seen that yet. Not just learning AI, not just bringing it to your work, learning it for you, enabling for yourself, and creating it for a platform for you to grow. So
That is so awesome. So no, this is exciting. Thank you for sharing your journey
yes,
with me. And I think, one, I do want us to share. We're about to start the how to enhance your career topics, but like I want to share inspiration for people, right? Our percentage in terms of numbers are very unlikely to be here. And I
yes,
do remember when you were like, I'm not a developer, I am not a tech, I am not
yes,
like, please
yes,
don't be afraid to dive in. Like for me, I have been in tech,
yeah,
I've been in commerce, but I jumped to
yeah,
e-commerce back in 2019, right? So it was
yes,
that was my dive into the digital
Yes.
world. I was selling
Yes.
in stores, now I'm selling online. So like I had to like just make a switch. But you know,
Okay.
it's amazing. I encourage anyone that is like considering diving into the AI and tech space to come in. So now I'm going to answer the $1 million question.
Okay.
Is AI taking your job? And I am excited to see your thoughts because like I do hear this so much, especially on
I
the
know.
comments when we talk about AI. You know, there's this perception that AI is gonna come like, I robot and like destroy us all, and it's like kind of funny. AI was born when computers were born,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So like we've been using AI for a long time. People get afraid. It's like, oh, they're taking all of our data. Our data has been taken by social media networks for the longest of times. Like the fight was 30 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Like right now we are in a place where all of our data is out there.
it's out there.
If you wonder if that's true, if you have Credit Karma on your phone,
Yeah,
let me tell you all of it.
yeah,
So like I think that it's important to make this emphasis. And if you're, I always say this in my trainings, if you forget everything that I say today, you want to remember one thing:
yeah.
AI is not taking your job, but those who got AI skills
Yeah.
might.
Yes.
So that is the important topic from here is don't be afraid of it. Dive in. It's actually kind of fun once you getting used to it.
Sure.
But today we're gonna share a couple of topics on how to enhance that. And while I pull the presentation, what are your thoughts on that, Miri?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, again, I'm in this space. I work at Microsoft. I'm developing an AI tool for women. So I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm learning as everybody else is. And I'm a sole writer, and I'm also, I'm a storyteller. So a lot of people would actually argue that, again, a generative AI tool can actually write for me and be done. It hasn't yet, and it won't. And I believe what it's going to do, as we talked earlier, it's becoming an opportunity for us to enhance our skill set and leverage it for more delivery and productivity. And so when you think about your role today, whatever that role is, because there's a lot of conversation around actually which roles would it take over. There is some statistics saying that it could take over some specific roles in the labor market. Again, please read the reports; they change all the time, so I'm not going to mention one specific. But there are some continuous reports out there talking about which jobs could it take. Some could be automated, for example, by AI tools. And what I'm suggesting here for everyone is to take an assessment. And I actually have talked to people saying, "Oh, it took my job," and I was like, "Really? Did it really though?" I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that because think of AI right now as an added on skill set. And Karol, you were talking about how we can do that. I'm glad we're going to touch on that today. Everybody today has the opportunity to learn this technology, all of us, and understand how ourselves personally, how we can enhance our set of skill set to the next level. There are going to be jobs that probably don't exist today with the advent of in the era of AI as we continue to evolve in this space. Just like a storyteller was not existent,
Yes.
10 years ago. You didn't go to school to be a storyteller. I was in comms. And
Mhm.
so it's really the adaptability that we have. I never went to school for storytelling. I took a job in com, I graduated in comms, and it just evolved with as the technologies evolved. So you can think of it that way. It's going to basically begin to stack more and more and be integrated more and more. And so there are going to be things that are going to be automated. So look at your role and go, what could possibly be automated today? And then, not that it's going to take over that automation, you can actually lead that space and say, okay, if I can automate this in my role today with AI and actually enable yourself to do that, play with the tools, integrate some tools, learn some tools, then it allows you in your own space to actually do more. What else can you do? What else can you learn to actually enhance because you've automated this space? For me, a lot of automation has been around editing, as you said, rewriting, thinking about perspectives. It would take me longer. A lot of research
Yeah.
about the content that I am creating before I create the content or the draft. A lot of different recommendations on, for example, the story arc. I was talking about this yesterday. I was doing a webinar and I was talking about how AI can actually take each of the arc of the story, which is exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and conclusion, and actually can help enhance each of those points for character pacing, for giving you different plots, different climax points, different conclusions to the story. So it's adding on to what you're already creating. It may automate some functions, but you're the creator. You're the creator behind it. So you get to see, okay, if I automate this in my space, what else can I do and where can I step in to do more? And we have that opportunity. So I don't think it's going to take jobs per se. I think it's going to take automate things that can be automated. And if your job can be fully automated, it really is up to you to think about what else can you do in that space to enhance your skill set and to actually learn AI, to be able to manage with AI and together deliver something bigger and more productive.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And
Yeah.
before we dive in here, I think, automation might quote unquote take it away, but personally knowing how much automation we use at HiK Trainings, how much automation we are still working on using in some areas of
Yeah.
Microsoft. I think, I will take a human that can automate their job versus an automation that is AI only, right?
Well, yes. I mean, explain more.
Be,
Think
be,
about, say what
because
does it mean? What does that mean? Tell me
because
more.
it adds the human element to
Yes.
it, and it adds the creativity to it.
Yeah.
Yesterday we're putting together a research for, showing the market, market at HiK Trainings,
Yeah.
and like as we were gathering that, I use Claude to create this deck because the verbiage is so richer. And
Yeah.
then it gave me a number like, you have potentially 58,000 clients. I'm like, hi Claude, how do you get to that number? Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Carol. I actually have no idea how I
Yeah.
got to that number, right? So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, let me do some research for you. I'll get back to you. I take
Yeah.
it, go online, go into ChatGPT, do further research. I'm
Yeah.
like, can you validate the sources of this data? Give me the links. I validate that it's actually coming from
Yeah.
reliable agencies. And then I go back to Claudia. It's like, I have this number. He's like, oh, you're absolutely right. This is actually very, and it gave me a new number. But if I would just have an automation that says, I need you to gather the data for what's online on only one platform,
Yeah.
AI does not have the capability of doing what I just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it's just, you're bringing, like, I will take a human that knows how to use AI versus an automation already created by AI alone.
Yeah, at Microsoft, we keep saying, I don't know if you've heard it already, but we keep saying, you got to treat AI as a generative AI specifically, Copilot tools and GPT, large language models, as a smart intern. You got to think it's not going to do
Yeah.
everything for you. You got to still train it. It can
Yep.
enable some things and it can help you produce some things, but you're not gonna hand over high level project to an intern. You're gonna have to guide them. You're gonna have to, so it is.
Yes.
We get to train it, and the more we understand it, which I love what you're sharing here. The more we understand it, the more we are able to integrate it and learn it. I mean, I've seen people, using low code for incredible things and learning because they don't have to fully be an engineer, right? And so now they can actually learn a little bit of how to leverage low code to deliver a lot more automation in operational things. So there's a lot that can be done if you understand where you can come in and how you can
Yes.
leverage all its capabilities, but you got to learn it, and you also have to guide
You
it,
do.
train it, and you got to keep training it. It's not one size fits all. It is not by any means all giving you all the answers. You got to check and fact check the sources. I mean, there's so many different things. You got to train it. So it is not a one said and done. It is a relationship you have to have with your AI.
Yes. I think that, I'm gonna like, I need to get to the tips, but I say, AI was born technically for all of us. It's been longer, but
Yes.
March 2023, right? So I
Mm,
treat it as a 1 year employee. It's a one
okay.
year and a half employee, right? And how much information did you give it? It's a year old. So I think that that's crazy. Okay, so now let's go into this. So things that you could do to enhance your role in AI: transcript and summary of meetings. If you are not doing this, you're way
Oh my
behind. I
gosh,
don't know
it's the
about,
best thing that can happen.
oh my God. So I
Amazing.
transcribe all my meetings. I ask for permission. Some states you need to ask for permission because
Yeah.
recording someone, obviously mainly for law purposes, but it's important. And
Yeah.
then I get my summary of all my meetings. I don't know. I have ADHD. So
Okay.
like for me, my attention span is short. So I always tell AI to please
Yeah.
summarize this meeting as if I was a 5 year old, because the amount of information that I have to retain is a lot.
Sure.
Writing code, right? So Python, if you're Python, or you have never in your life even thought you could write code, guess what? You can now, and you can
You
figure
can
out what it
now.
can do for you.
You can now.
Did This one is big for me, Mary, like process flows and product flows.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that have the idea of an app. Ooh, I have
Yeah.
this app that I
Yeah.
want to create, and
Yeah.
it's going to help you catch the best mangoes in the land, right? And you can like know what to, something like that, right?
Hello,
You
Mango.
can actually, yeah, I love mango, by the way. Yeah, we can have a whole conversation about that. My coworker Rosie is always making fun of me for that.
Okay.
But like, you can actually start creating your own process flow.
Yeah.
Ask AI to be your product manager and help you
Hmm.
create a flow for an app that you're trying to create.
Amazing.
Ask it to ask you questions. And
Yes.
surprisingly enough, it will give you a chart, like a process flow chart on how the
And
process
code.
works.
And code. It will give you the code
And
as
code.
well. Yeah.
And code, and you can get it started. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It
I'll
is
still get a
amazing.
revised but actual professional, but it will give you a starting point on that dream
Yeah.
that you've been trying to
Yeah.
accomplish. This one's big, performance evaluations. I struggle this time of year for myself. I also have a team, so I have to make sure
Oh
that
yeah.
I'm giving my team their fair share.
Yes.
So this is a very long, detailed process.
Can I talk
I
about
have
this
a
one? Can I talk about this one? Because
Yes, please,
actually I
please,
was
please,
talking
please,
about it
yes.
yesterday I met with a team of executive leaders, and this is actually one of the bigger things that they talk about. You want to be personalized. You want to tailor performance evaluations. You want to make sure you're recapping an entire year worth, or half a year, or a quarter of performance and of highlights, and you want to make sure that it's reflective of the employee's performance throughout the entire time. Right now, with tools like an integration of, I'll speak of Copilot because that's the one that we're using at Microsoft, and Copilot, it is actually able to scan through your emails, your team's chats, your shared documents with this particular person, and actually give you a synopsis of the entire performance to say, hey, this is what they've done. This is how what they've done, and it's incredible because we're bound to miss that. I was, I've been a people manager, and it's so hard. It's such a stressful time. I'm like, did I forget something? They do a project and I forgot about it because it was like in the first quarter. So it really has a capability to really bring everything in one space, and help you make sure you miss something, and then help you as you talk to it, really create that evaluation in a way that feels personalized and tailored, and empathetic to the work that they've done. So this is a huge one for me.
Love it. No, this has been a big time saver for
Yeah.
me. What I have had to remember is that every quarter I have this reminder on my calendar that says write everything you have done in the last 3 months.
Mm,
Because when the time gets there, I'm like, I
yes.
don't know what
Like
because
so much.
yeah, yeah, my achiever is my number one strength. So for me, I achieve something, and this happens all the time in my one-on-one. It's like, so congratulations, and I'm like, oh, what? And what happened last week? I'm like, oh, I'm past that. I'm on to the next challenge, right? So
Right.
like,
Yes.
I need to do that for myself, and
Yeah.
then when the end of the year comes, I take all that information and produce my own performance evaluation. And then I do the same for every direct report that I have. Like, what are the highlights of what they did this quarter? What are the, lowlights of things that I can help them with, right? And it's like if you do anything, if you're like, I don't know how to start, this will change your
This
life.
would be a
This will
great
save you.
exercise to start with. Agreed.
Yes,
Agreed. It's gonna help. And,
yes,
and okay, so I know people will ask, wait a minute, it's reading my emails, it's going through my Outlook, it's gonna read through my documents. Yes, only if it's part of your integration with your system. And this is where a lot of these documents and a lot of the way that we're going to start working in the future will actually, we already have this at Microsoft. You're labeling this to make sure that in the network, so it's obviously in your company network, it lives there, these documents, and you're able to label them general, label basically the
yes.
confidentiality labels. And so it won't touch the ones that you've labeled highly confidential or confidential if it's not general. But right now I can, and we've done some fun prompting. We've done a prompting where it's like, hey, read all my emails, take my notes, my emails, my chat, whatever, and tell me about my personal brand. And so it gives you like your superhero brand based on your communication style, how you work with your team. So it's so many things that you can do with this tool, in really combining so many different things that we work in, and we would never be able to do this. It would take us months to do something like this. So.
Yes, no, absolutely. I agree with that. Especially with a heavy email culture, you want to have
Uh-huh.
that.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we have that. So, So productivity and task management.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, we will be sending you like a one pager with some productivity task management tools, one pager for you to like access with a lot of information. But it will help okay, what task can I like hand off? And then shortcuts for AI prompts. So there's times that you do not know how to like ask for something
Yeah.
or need something.
Yeah.
AI will also give you with those
You can
prompts. So
ask AI how to ask AI. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you can ask AI how to ask AI. Yes. I'm going to give you some what you need to watch out for with AI and call out all the mistakes.
Yeah.
So what sometimes people do is that they write in AI and then they start a new chat when it gives you wrong numbers. Or if you've been writing on it for a long time, then you go ahead and start a new chat, which is okay because sometimes some of the questions can get muddy. But you need to call AI out on the mistakes because the next prompts they will be more careful in giving you
That's
wrong
right.
data.
Keep training it. It's all of us are in
Yes,
it. Yes, I love that.
yes, we're training it. So it's important to have that. Then
Yep.
ask for references and input of the data. Like for me, this is big. Where do you get this data from? Especially because I am in a business where we pride ourselves at HiK Trainings of using scientifically backed data. So for me to go to a client and say, no, this is the
Yeah.
number, only like 75% of people are not engaged in their jobs,
Yeah.
58% of people are quiet quitting. I need to have a backup researcher company to be able to fund that. I
Yeah.
can't just like say that. So
I'm
it's
gonna double down
important.
on this one because again, if
Yeah.
I did say it earlier, Carol, that I recommend using AI for research. It really helped me a whole lot. But you don't just trust it immediately that it's going to give you the right sources, right? It's not.
Yes.
There's a lot. We're still building it, and it's learning by the day. So yes, when you get that result back, it is up to you, and you should really double down, look more. Look at the sources that it's giving you. Go back and say, can you give me a little bit more here? Train it to really give you the sources, and continue to train it so that you get specific on what you're looking for your research.
Yes, which is going to land to the last topic here in the last bullet point, but it's
Yeah.
important because you just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Don't take the first answer. Give
No.
ChatGPT, blank here,
Yeah.
Claude, Copilot, whatever, at
Yeah.
least 3 prompts.
I like that.
And then, I think that's important. A big one also for us is like, instead of just one answer, have a conversation with it, but also give it a role.
Yeah.
Give it a role and ask it,
Yeah.
what does a person do in this role? So let's say you need to put a story together. You're not a great storyteller like me, right? Like a natural trained storyteller. You can be like, I need you to be my storyteller, brand marketing. What does a person like
Yeah.
that do? Or what brand or what communication specialist focuses on storytelling? And let it tell you what it does and what are the
Yes.
descriptions of that job,
That's great.
because those prompt that it's writing is going to become part of its memory. So then the
Yes.
next thing you say is like, great, can you be that for me, please? And you will see that I will encourage you. Do that
Play
in
with
one
it.
chat and do another chat without it and see how
Vast
different the
difference.
results are.
Vast difference. Yeah. And prompt engineering and prompt learning. I mean, just learn enough. I've created for myself like different prompts that I have worked for me immediately. Like after playing around, at least 3 prompts, I'm like, okay, this one's really good, and now I just use it all the time because I know how to prompt it in a way that I'm going to get the result back that I need. It is not a search engine. A lot of people are
Yes.
treating it like a search engine. It is actually a machine that can give you a lot more if you give it a role. If you give it description, demographics, you can say something like, I am this, looking for this. I need recommendations on this for this. I mean, just the more that you get, the more granular you get on your inquiry, the more you're gonna get out of the machine.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think that is very key. Well, I love going through these with you, Miri.
Good
This
call.
has been fun, and
Yes.
we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is all of these. And again, we obviously, I love Copilot. I think
I do
Copilot's
too.
great. It's amazing.
It
I
really is.
genuinely believe that all of these tools also have their own input. Some of these are generated prompts when we ask ChatGPT what it thinks about everybody. So, and then we try to play with it a little bit. But thank you, Kate, for putting this together. You can read this. I'm gonna send this presentation. I'm gonna give you my opinion, and I want your opinion, Miri.
Okay.
So everyone can read what is here. For me, Copilot is so great when it comes to meeting summaries, transcribing and giving an AI response, and summarizing emails, and also I love their digital image creation tool.
It
Chat
is
GPT to
great.
me, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I do love the designer, but it's still learning. It's still a little
It's
bit
still
clunky.
learning, but you
It's a
want to know
baby.
something? If
Yeah,
you're looking for a logo and
yeah.
some
It's good on that.
branding colors,
Yeah, it can turn out.
yeah,
Yeah,
it will save you a lot of money just to
it
go in there and just
will.
start playing around and getting
Yeah,
a logo, typography, and like different like colors for your design. It's like really cool like that.
it is cool.
Yeah. ChatGPT is I need some repetitive work. Like I have a format and I want you to keep me this format every time I ask you something. ChatGPT will give you the format before you even, like, he will just keep copying your format. So for repetitive work, ChatGPT is my person. Also, when I ask it to be my researcher, has given me much more accurate data than
Mm,
any other AI tool that I have used.
good call.
Yeah. So I think Copilot has some similar traits, but like I feel like I don't know what is it with ChatGPT. It just goes deeper into other researchers.
And can I just call out that Chat GPT is so Copilot is built on the stack of Chat GPT, so which is
Yes,
interesting because it's actually it's right on top of OpenAI.
yes, it is. And I think maybe the thing is ChatGPT has so Copilot is very like very I feel like if I were to create a tool, I were like Copilot to do it because it's like very protective. It
Mm-hmm.
protects more.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
does. Yeah,
ChatGPT is more open,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think because of that openness, it brings up data of places that maybe Copilot doesn't get into.
Yeah, and I actually
It
should
might be
call
that.
that out for OpenAI for ChatGPT if you're using the free version, if you're using, not if you're using the free version or you're using
It's
the
different.
outside of corporate version, right? It's just like the open it for everybody, open source. You are training it. The information you're giving it is actually using it as well. So it's like if you're using that on the ChatGPT side, like Copilot, the way that we or you and I use Copilot at Microsoft, it's basically living in the Microsoft network. It's within our Microsoft credentials. And so when it's sourcing data, you can actually ask it to source data from the Microsoft network or from the web, both. OpenAI, ChatGPT, open source, it's really just from the internet. And so it's just, you got to call that out because when you're asking, when you're querying, when you're actually keeping a chat, you're informing it as well. You're training it as we're training all of these tools. And so I would caution people using ChatGPT open source if it's not within a corporate network to not mention customers, to not get very granular about what you want it to do for you when you're doing specific work. With a high level prompt, you can still get a lot out of it that you need without having to give it a lot of your personal or your customer. Please don't do that. Your customer information, because we can get really,
Yes.
I'm saying that because we can get really excited about the tool and just start playing with it and forget,
Yes.
that we're not in the corporate environment. So you have to be really careful if you're using the open source side of these tools, that it is basically you're giving it the information. It's gonna take it and make it part of its database. So
And I think that's really important because even if you're like, we're going to move into Claude in a minute because Claude is called the most ethical and safe focused conversations. I think personally, I believe in Microsoft security
yeah,
very heavily because I believe me, we live it and breathe it and learn
we
it
really do.
every
We
time.
really do.
But their Claude is called the most ethical, safety focused because it doesn't save your prior conversations. So every new chat, they don't reference your prior chats for anything, and it's really a brand new conversation every time.
Yeah.
So I point that out because even if you were to, oh yeah, but Claude doesn't retain my information, yeah, but Claude has the information now, right? So if you're using company data that shouldn't be shared, you should definitely not add it anywhere other than if your company has a Copilot license and you're like entering safety information, like information that should be kept safe. That's the only place. But in terms of researching and like gaining more, like yeah, absolutely, you can follow this as long as not client, customer information, like anything that could be potentially, internal information for your company.
Yeah,
So
and
Claude is
I'm really
yeah.
excited that Empressa is actually being built on Azure technology on the stack of Microsoft, and so our security parameters are exactly on that. And I'm just so grateful to Microsoft for this. I'm just elated that we can definitely build such great, secure technology. I'm just so proud.
Yeah, that is so good. Congratulations
Thank
there
you.
for being part of Microsoft for Startups. It's like a big, big, big
It's a
deal.
big deal. I know. I'm
Yes,
excited.
I'm like, oh my God, that's so awesome. So,
Yes.
okay, so we have Claude is my copywriter. That's what I call it. It's my
I love it.
copywriter.
Very
It
nice.
is really human-like writing, and it gives a really great experience.
Have you tried Jasper? Some people have. I love Jasper.
I haven't tried Jasper,
Okay.
and neither have I. Gemini, I'm not as familiar with. I have
Okay.
not had good results with Gemini yet, and some people have given mixed reviews. They're
Mm-hmm.
saying that the second version of Gemini is better than the first version of Gemini, but I'm not
Oh,
very familiar with it. Are you?
I'm not. I was waiting for you to debrief on this one because I haven't used it. But I was wondering if you had used Jasper because I was looking for you.
Here's the honest opinion. Every time I've used it, it hasn't wowed me yet. It's not wowed by
I
it.
like that. I like you saying that. So I think for your audience right now, everybody listening, I think a good way to determine if this is the tool for you is, does it wow you, and in what space? Because when we think productivity, when we think writing, each of us have different roles and we're performing different functions. So one tool may work for somebody, may wow them in their space, and the other one may not. And so when you think about integration, people dealing with data, Power BI, finance, code, what wows them. And so we all have the opportunity to really play with these new tools that are coming out and really see and understand how it serves us in each and in our spaces. So I love that you're sharing this, Carol. This is great for your space, but I think everybody should really do the same that you did and go, hey, this tool didn't wow me. This one's I'm working with, and really getting to know these tools out there. I love that.
Yeah, it's been really crucial. So this has been so much fun, and I want to leave with the final message before we move into Q&A with if there's any out there.
Yeah.
So Kate, you keep me honest. The final message is AI won't take your job, but others who master it might. So that is important for you to start thinking about, how do I start playing with it and getting familiarized with it. And there's a lot of different skill set. Microsoft has a learning website
A
where it
whole
teaches
lot.
you different ways to leverage and upskill AI. And we have
Yes.
others out there as well. So send us an email to info@HiK Trainings if you want more information, and we'll send something your way. But just high level, AI can significantly outperform those who are trying to like get up on their career, eliminate some of that tasks that are like not relevant to your growth. Choosing to ignore AI is like when social media happened 20 years ago, and
Yes.
everyone's like, I'm not gonna get on Facebook.
Right.
Facebook's not gonna
Right.
remember those days. And like now there are a lot of businesses now, you need social media in order to grow. So
Oh yeah.
don't ignore the wave, and then growing alongside these technological advancements, because it will be really good for you. Thank you, Miri, for being here.
My
You have
pleasure.
5 more minutes left. Any
Yeah.
questions for me or Miri?
Yeah, and while
And
we wait for
Kate,
the questions, I want to add,
yeah.
thank you for that last slide about AI won't take your job. I want to add, it will give you new jobs. It will enable new
Yes.
jobs. And so if you're staying ahead of it, if you're learning, if you're, and this is really a call out for women, please, 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 this is the opportunity for us to level the playing field, educate yourself, learn, take the skillings, take the certifications, learn the tools, play with the tools, integrate the tools in your day to day, find out which ones you love more and which ones you don't and why, and build on that so that you can actually level yourself up, elevate yourself to the new potential roles that will be out there that are AI related or have AI integration. So.
Awesome. Yep, I agree. Thank you for sharing that, because it absolutely will. And it's something that you need to add on your resume
Yes,
as you keep upskilling
absolutely.
and certifying.